Well, here we are. Spring has sprung, friends. We can check this out. Oh, the trees are gorgeous right now. But that's not why we're out here. This is our 2021 Winnebago Voyage 3134. Hey, Faraday. Faraday the cat is out here with us today. And today is going to be part 3 of what is now a 4-part series on installing an inverter charger, lithium batteries, and solar on our new camper. I thought it was going to be a 3-part series, but it's going to be 4 because this is part 3, and we're not going to be done today. Let me show you what I mean. So if you've just wandered in, you haven't seen part 1 and part 2, I invite you to go back to my channel and watch those before you watch this video, but let me give you a quick peek of what we're looking at. In part 1 and part 2, we installed two 170 amp hour batteries from bigbattery.com. It's a great batteries. I'm really happy with the way they take a charge and the fact that they both exceed their rated amp hour capacity. Very happy about that. And if you're not familiar with those, bigbattery.com, and they come with Anderson connectors on the output, which make them super easy to hook up. And then we installed the battery disconnect switch that allows us to choose to run on one or the other of the batteries or both. And it goes up to a positive DC bus bar there. And then there's a second switch on the output of the battery disconnect, which is a disconnect for the inverter. And then that goes to a fuse that came with the inverter, and then to our GoPower IC3000 inverter charger. Pure sine wave 3000 watt inverter with a surge much higher than that. It's also a 125 amp battery charger. It also contains a transfer switch in for a 50 amp service, so your shore power can come in and go out of here, and it will feed your whole camper. Awesome rig. And then over here is a shunt, and the shunt is what we use to measure the power coming in and out of the battery, and the shunt display is there, and then the remote for the Go Power Inverter charger is there, but this isn't where they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be somewhere else, and that's what we're going to go do today. Let me take you inside. So as we make our way into the Voyage, we find right inside the door the control panel. We've already done some things here. We added the King Wi-Fi repeater, and you can see from the connection on the left we also have the Swift antenna up on the roof. That's another video that I'll make someday, but there's plenty of room here, as it turns out, to put both the battery monitor and the inverter charger Go Power panel, and so that's going to go right there, and the battery monitor panel is going to go up here. Now it looks like there's already something there because there is. But that's going to go away. One of the first things we did when we bought the camper was to do a couple of upgrades. This was for over there above the microwave in the ceiling. You can see that there was an exhaust fan there, and it had a fan switch and then a switch to open and close the vent. But I've never been really happy with those. But what I've always been really happy with are fantastic fans. And so that's what we put in right when we bought the camper. This one has a wireless remote control, and you can adjust the speed based on temperature, or just manually set the fan speed. And it has a rain sensor, so if it starts raining, it shuts itself off and closes its vent cover. And it can blow air in or it can blow air out. These things I think are just absolutely necessary, especially if you're going to camp places where it's moderately hot, but maybe you don't want to run the air conditioning, or you're boondocking and you don't have the power to run air conditioning. Those fans can make a lot of difference, and I love them. Okay, so back over to here. Since there's already a hole there, we're just going to make that a touch bigger, and we'll put the battery monitor there, and I'm thinking that the other one's going to fit right there. That's the size of the hole I need. And so that's the project for today. That seems not too bad. Here's the part that's a little harder. They've got to come down an inside wall back in there somewhere, and then make their way across to the battery compartment, which is over there somewhere. And guess what's in between? Yep, all this. which means it's got to come out, which I've already done twice for other parts of this project, but we're going to do it again today. All right, so let me start unpacking stuff and see if I can find the chase that those wires are going to go down, and get out a snake and all that other stuff I'm going to need, and we'll see you back in just a minute for the next update on this project. Okay, a quick update. Here's that control panel area. This is the LCI1 control. Here's the new hole cut for the inverter charger, and here's the new hole cut for the battery monitor. I used this trusty old jobber-do right here. Works pretty well. Actually, I think my holes might be a little neater than the ones from the factory, but that's okay. So if we look back inside here, see if I can get you in there. It's a little bit hard, but there's a spot here where all the wires go, but then there's actually a vent pipe. There's a black vent pipe in there that I got to get past and then turn and go down. And so I'm hoping to use my trusty old plumber's snake and see if that works for me, and then we'll connect the wires down underneath and pull them back up. At least that's the plan. Let's see what happens. Okay, well, we've got the snake run down, and I've got the wires attached, the two remote wires attached at the bottom, and now we're gonna give a tug and see what happens. Come on now. On something. Yeah, this is the non-sexy part. I did want to try to film that, but I needed two hands, and I don't have an assistant. So just so as you know, that worked. There's my snake, and there's the two remote wires, and they came up that chase in there actually much easier than I expected, which makes me a little worried about what's going to happen next, but it's okay. This is progress. Now let's get these remotes put in there. Well, this project is complete. That went a lot easier than I expected. I'm going to start over here. We ran the wires through the pass-through and then up and over across here into a loom, into a new hole that goes into the battery compartment. I guess I still need to get that tied up, but and then it comes into the battery compartment, and the one for the shunt goes down here and connects, and the one for the Go Power Inverter had tons of extra wire, but because of the kind of cable it is, I didn't want to shorten. I just left it whole and wrapped it up and taped it up there. And at the same time, while I was in here, I ran 12 volts from that second position on the left. That top, across the top is the positive bus bar. Added a 40 amp fuse, and I'm running 10 gauge wire, this 10 gauge wire here inside, and I'll show you where it comes out. It comes out in here where I've added a 12 volt outlet on 10 gauge wire and a 40 amp fuse, which should be good, and that gives me a place to plug in. I have a Green Mountain Grill pellet stove smoker, which can run on 120 or 12 volts. So when we're boondocking, it makes more sense to run it right off of 12, and it's also a spot I can catch power for an air compressor or something like that. And so this just needs to get put back together. I just got done vacuuming it out. Let me show you what's happening on the inside. My lovely assistant Lynn. Hi, Lynn.
Hi.
So this is done. There's the battery monitor. It's working just like it's supposed to, and underneath that is the remote for the IC series Go Power Inverter charger, which is working fine. And what we're struggling with now is this silly LCI1 control. It mounts on these 4 little clips, and then 2 screws go in the bottom, and it seems nearly impossible to get all 4 of those little spots lined up correctly to hang it back on there the way it's supposed to be. I played with it for a little while. See, there's these little nubs right here that have to fit into the little slots here and here on both sides. And I don't know what sort of magic they used at the factory, but after I took it off, we struggled to get those. It seems simple enough, but we have not had much luck getting that back on. I can get one side on and the other side on. I tried bending tabs in and out, and so, you know, it always happens to me. You do a job where the hard part, you know, snaking wires through chases and walls and across pass-throughs, yeah, that went easy. Putting this back on the wall, hard. That'll wrap it up, though. I'm going to turn this off before I see Lynn snap one of those off. And there we go. Next video will be the solar on the roof, so I can't wait to get started on that. And that'll be soon. Until then, take care, enjoy your camp, and see you soon.